last 15 months have been something of a whirlwind. I lived with the material on my last record, like Drawing Blood, for about 4 to 5 years, which was a long time. Like, I put it out myself in Australia, and it slowly started to kind of get to people. And maybe 3 years later, I found myself putting it out in Europe and Japan, and kind of got it out in America, like digitally, but not really. So as much as there's been a whole bunch of stuff that's happened in the last 15 months, it's felt comparatively short to kind of be touring the world a few times on this record, yeah, after having spent so long with the last album. Somebody That I Used to Know is not about one specific relationship, is partly autobiographical in that I suppose certain lines in it were definitely triggered by memories of different relationships I'd had over the last 15 years, for instance. There are definite lines that are completely fictional. So it's kind of embellished, but you know, it was put together in a very similar fashion to the way I make most of my music. It was triggered by a sample of guitar from a Brazilian record in the 60s. And for some reason that just triggered the first line of lyrics. And after that it was written in a very linear fashion. Like, I wrote the intro, the first verse, the chorus. That might seem self-evident to a lot of people, but often for me songs are like little puzzles where I'm shifting sections around, and sometimes I'll find the bit that, you know, the outro first and work back around to the intro. But yeah, this song was written in a very front to back kind of fashion. So it just took a little while to find the right female vocalist, to finally find Kimbra to really, yeah, make the song special. There have been so many covers and parodies of Somebody That I Used to Know on YouTube. So recently, I guess, rather than even say anything, the best thing I could say about it is that all my feelings about it are pretty much encapsulated in a mashup that I did recently on my YouTube channel. I mashed 130 plus different covers and parodies of Somebody That I Used to Know into a new 6-minute piece. So yeah, you can check that out on youtube.com/Gotye. It's called Some Bodies. Godley and Cream, two musicians who started off in 10cc and then were super influential as video directors in the early days of MTV in the 80s, but they also made some remarkable, really incredible psychedelic kind of highbrow pop records under their own name in the early 80s. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. Joni Mitchell, definitely, but it's very varied. I grew up listening to a lot of Depeche Mode. As you can tell, it's kind of eclectic. There's two people I collaborated with on my last record that, you know, really contributed significant things to songs and the sound of the album. That one is obviously Kimbra. I mean, I'm a huge fan of her work and was already, and it's been wonderful to get to know her better over the last 15 months as we've toured together and played shows together. And yeah, and she's such an amazing vocalist, live performer. She inspires me when she makes music. The other person is a man named Francois Titaz, and he mixed and did production on my record and my last album too. And he's just, apart from being a very dear friend, he's also just very inspiring in terms of his the way he thinks about music, and he's very widely listened. So he's always got something interesting, an interesting, surprising reference point for new music to listen to, or for how new stuff relates to music from the past. Hey, this is Wally from Gotye here, and I'm at Austin City Limits with the Grammys.